Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol. Now then, behind me is one of my favourite performance SUVs, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Now it is my car for the next week, thanks to the guys at Alfa Romeo UK. Now I have had a Stelvio Quadrifoglio on the channel before, but that is the model year 2020 version. There's plenty of new stuff on there for us to talk about, and this week I am super busy. I have lots and lots of driving. We're going to put plenty of miles on that car. Okay, so I'm on my way to what I think is going to be a pretty busy week. So I'm actually on my way to Ipswich. Now, according to Waze, that is 151 miles. I have reset the trip because what I want to do is just live with this car and see how I get on in terms of the boring stuff like fuel economy, but also things like comfort. Now, for viewers new to the channel, let me just refresh you a few things. First things first, I spent a couple of weeks with a Stelvio Quadrifoglio about 18 months ago, I guess now. I even took one to VMAX 200 and ran one down the runway at just over 160 miles an hour. Super, super impressive car. And then me and my good buddy Steph ABTV were flown to Italy last year for the launch of the model year 2020 Giulia and Stelvio. Now at that launch they didn't actually have the Quadrifoglio versions, but they did have both cars that we could drive, and most of the upgrades for the model year 2020 are inside the car. Things like the infotainment system has been improved a great deal, and also we have level 2 autonomous driving. The outside of the car doesn't look that much different, and certainly for the Quadrifoglio version there's no difference in performance compared to the outgoing model. Nonetheless, I am really looking forward to spending time with this car. As I said in my intro, this for me is one of the best performance SUVs you can buy. I think it's a very, very close call that this is the best Alfa Romeo you can buy, because the Giulia is a stunning, stunning car in Quadrifoglio form, but there's something about the Stelvio, the fact it's got four-wheel drive, and certainly when the weather's going to be as inclement as it's likely to be this week, to be able to have four-wheel drive, you can stick it in race mode, which reminds me. So I've got the little DNA toggle. I'm now going to stick it in race mode because then you get the really shouty exhaust. But what I then do is soften the dampers off, otherwise it's too crashy and hard. You can't live with it. And now we can sound good and have fun at the same time. One final thing before we get going on our journey is this car also has Apple CarPlay. It's not wireless, you have to plug it in with a USB cable, which isn't such a bad thing. And the lovely touchscreen display that I just think it just blends so beautifully into the dash now has a big widescreen version of Waze. So I am a happy, happy bunny. It's raining. It's raining and it's getting dark, but I can still do this. Car puts a smile on your face, that's absolutely for sure. So one of the things I remember about driving this car in Italy was the highway assist function. So basically it's got level 2 autonomous driving, so I can set adaptive cruise control. It will keep me in my lane. It's a hands-on feature, but I've got a long journey ahead of me, so it should keep me nice and refreshed for when I get there. By absolute fluke and no pre-planning whatsoever, I happen to have come via the Hindhead Tunnel. So I had dropped myself back into D mode. I'm now going to go back up into, thank you Waze, into race mode. Just crack the window just a little bit, drop it into the manual box. This car, it just sounds incredible. even in the days of all of these kind of particulate filters and rubbish sounding exhausts, in race mode, sounds wicked. However, there is a major problem with race mode in this car. It's not auditory, it's safety. So yeah, it's the same in the Giulia, but actually it's worse in the Giulia Quadrifoglio. So when you're in race mode in one of these things, it basically, that is the raciest sounding note you're going to get from the exhaust. It's sensational. It cracks on the upshift. It just sounds beautiful. But when you go into race mode, it turns all the traction control systems off. Now, in a Stelvio, that isn't a major issue because you have four-wheel drive. So even though it's raining and very greasy and horrible conditions out there, I can actually drive along in race mode in a reasonable amount of comfort and a reasonable amount of security that I'm not going to do anything silly. The big challenge with the Giulia Quadrifoglio is it's the same. You go into race mode and it turns all of the traction control off. And in the Giulia, that's only rear wheel drive, and you really do have to be on your A game. So my first, which would I prefer between a Giulia and Stelvio Quadrifoglio, is the Stelvio always wins my vote on the fact that you can drive around in race mode in the worst weather conditions and not worry about having a massive accident and losing traction at the back end, because the four-wheel drive system helps you out. While we're talking about four-wheel drive system with this weather, oh my goodness me. Oh well, at least we had a bit of a tunnel run. Wow, I hope it's not like this all the way to Ipswich. Well, I've just crossed the Dartford crossing. It's getting probably too dark to film. I've still got about 60 miles to go. I'll catch up with you when I get to my hotel. But I do love this car very, very much. Although, to be fair, its natural environment where you really get to exploit the car to its full potential is not a motorway. Now then, good morning everybody. We need to spring forward a couple of days. I left home on Monday. It is now Wednesday morning. Yesterday, from a filming point of view, didn't happen because I left my hotel super early, really before the light was good enough to film, and we didn't finish working until 7 o'clock in the evening, at which time it had gone dark, and then I drove all the way up to Grantham in the East Midlands, where I overnighted, and I'm now on my way up to Ilkley in Yorkshire for another day's work today. So yeah, yesterday I had planned to do a bit of a kind of update and a bit of a chat to you, but that just didn't happen. Sit rep on where we are in terms of the Stelvio Quadrifoglio and living with it. So I've now done a total of 276 miles, and I'm averaging 25 miles to the gallon, which I don't think is too bad. I've been sat in this seat for 5 hours and 41 minutes, and it is still super comfortable. On the A1 for a long time this morning. I've still got 50 miles to go until my exit. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was last night, after I finished a very, very long day of work, I got into this car. It was dark. It was not a particularly nice evening. It was very cold. And I was very tired. And I had a 2-hour journey. Most of that journey was on dual carriageway, so I just put it into highway assist mode. Now, in highway assist mode, basically this car is level 2 autonomous driving. It has adaptive cruise control and lane assist. It keeps you in the lane, and as long as your hands are on the steering wheel, that's it. And for me, that's when this car came to its fore in terms of really putting the miles on and doing the distance, because it just helped me get to my destination. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I could sleep in the driver's seat or anything, but it just made that journey more doable, more pleasant. There's an argument you have to be a little bit careful, because you can't fully relax, and that's my challenge with autonomous driving, is you might fully relax or fully switch off, and then then it becomes dangerous. So I didn't fully relax, it just made it less tiring. And I know it's not the only car with that feature, but one of the model year 2020 features that came into the Alfa range was the highway assist and the traffic jam assist. Now, traffic jam assist is quite interesting because I also used that yesterday. Unfortunately, it was dark when I did. And that is when you're in that adaptive cruise mode and the car's doing everything for you. If the traffic in front slows down and you get to kind of crawling traffic, you don't have to touch the pedals at all. The car just does everything for you. The only thing you need to do is, if the car comes to a complete stop, to start again, you just need to apply a little bit of throttle, and the car will then come back up and keep the distance between you and the car in front. And those two features, they are the standout features for me from the model year 2020. Really, really impressive. Oh, it's such a beautiful day today, and I'm now up near Ilkley in Yorkshire. So I've done Home, Ipswich, Grantham, Ilkley, and it is beautiful. The roads are beautiful, but sadly I'm not going to be getting to drive this car very much today. But I have a feeling that this is the kind of road you really want when you've got an Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Something, oh, you just pull out, mate, don't worry. It's something nice and open and twisty. Oh, it looks lovely. Really, really nice. So, full day's work today. I might chat to you when I've finished. Yeah, when we're finished, I've got about another hour or so to where we're staying over tonight. So it is a long day. Now, you might well have seen my midweek 180 I filmed from this week. I literally got to my hotel. I filmed my midweek 180 at 11:30 at night. Finally got it edited and uploaded by about 12:10. And it will go live today, because today is Wednesday at 6 p.m. But anyway, I'm going to leave you to it. Look at these beautiful autumn colours. It really is a stunning part of the world. A long way from home, but it's all right up north. Quite like it round here. Oh, I thought we were going to finish before it went dark, and we didn't. Never mind. It's not too bad though, because it's only just coming up to 5 o'clock, but here in the UK our clocks change as we come into the winter. That means it gets dark an hour earlier, and it means that the day's much shorter. Now, I've not got so much of a horrible drive now. It's only about 20 miles actually. I'm going to stay just outside of Leeds in a place called Garforth, and then we've got another day of work tomorrow, and then I'll drive home. So I don't think, you might not even be able to see this, so I won't spend too long on here, but yeah, it's a really short drive anyway. But yeah, the drive home tomorrow, I am hoping that I'm going to get to do some of that in the daylight so I can talk to you. I'm going home, I'm going home. Home time, work finished. The only downside is, it is 254 miles to get home. That's an awfully long way. A touch over 4 hours. 4 hours and 5 minutes. But I do have a lovely, comfy car to do the journey in. My plan is to crack on and get nearer home. And then, having talked about this car on a long journey on the motorway and talked about its autonomous driving capabilities and its comfort, I thought we can't really not include what this car is best at, and that is its dynamic driving capabilities. I mentioned right at the beginning of this film, this is one of my favourite sports or performance SUVs, and there is a reason for that, and that reason is when you get this car on a twisty B road and push on, it is simply mega. Well, I'm getting much closer to home. I've finished all of my motorway driving. Just a quick report on MPG, by the way. I've done 621 miles and I've been averaging 24 miles to the gallon. and that's on a lot of long 70-mile-an-hour motorway cruises. So I think that's pretty realistic in terms of what you're going to get. I've been in this car nearly 13 hours, would you believe? But what I'm now going to do is a nice little bit of interesting road. So I'm going to go from D up into race mode. So you just twist the lever for a couple of seconds, into race mode we go. What I'm also going to do though is just back off the dampers to their mid setting. I find the dampers on the hard setting in this car far too firm, and I'm going to move the gear stick over into manual shift and hopefully be able to overtake this pickup in front, and we'll have a little bit of a nice run. It's a lovely bit of road we're about to go on, and you'll be able to kind of hear just how amazing this car sounds when you get some decent road to drive it on. You have the ability to overtake things in a heartbeat. The manual gear change in this box is so slick on the way up or on the way down. I just find it a really lovely, there's very little hesitation. You get a lovely rev match on the way down that just barks that V6 into life, and it sounds magnificent. Get asked why, or what is the point of really powerful, really fast cars when the speed limit in the UK is 60 or 70 miles an hour national speed limit. And one of my answers is you get stuck behind a car that's not moving massively below the speed limit, but you want to get past it quickly and past it safely. And that is, for me, why on a day-to-day driving basis, having something with the kind of power, and I'm not suggesting you need 500 horsepower obviously, but having that more powerful car just gives you the ability to overtake and stay in the danger lane for the least time possible. Once you get this car on an open flowing road like this, it is magnificent. It just has a beautiful feel to it. Alfa Romeo have this amazing way of setting up their steering and their whole chassis just so it's poised and accurate and sharp, but not sharp to the point of being edgy. And I really like that. Now then, we're not a million miles away from home. As I now calm down, we have one more job. I am actually getting home today a little bit earlier than I thought, and also the pups have been to the groomers today. I actually thought that was next week. Oops, got my diary dates wrong. So I actually need to go and pick up the pups from the groomers. Now here we are, nearly at the end of the video, just about to collect the pups from the groomers. Come on then. Oh, you go over there. Come on, pup. That's 1, 2. Ha-ha! Oh, don't they look gorgeous? They always look so neat and tidy when they've been done, don't you, girls? Oh, you're right, dude. I haven't seen you for a couple of days because I've been away. I know. So there you go. My week with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio has come to an end. A good nearly 14 hours, well over 600 miles, and it's a super impressive car. Final impressions are, it does lots of things very well. It's a brilliant car on the motorway because of the autonomous driving features, and it's epic when you get it on some tight and twisties. It's not the most fuel economic car in the world, 25 at a stretch. I think if you start pushing on and drive in a spirited fashion, especially if you stick it into race mode, you're really looking at low 20s, so it is a pretty thirsty car. In terms of the model year 2020 upgrades, most of them, and if you watched my review when I went out to Italy, most of them were on the inside of the car. A new infotainment system with the widgets and the touchscreen, all the level 2 autonomous driving features. On the outside, it hasn't changed a great deal, and half of me thinks if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but the other half, I really would have liked just something to refresh the outside a little bit more. The spec of this particular press car, I'm not normally a big fan of red cars, as it happens, but it's an Alfa. I think red Alfas are always a good thing. And I love the blacked out badges and the smoked glass on the back. So I think it looks really smart on these wheels. I'm a big fan of these wheels. So on the whole, really love this car. It's one of my favourites. Certainly, I think my favourite sports SUV for 70,000 quid. If you compare it with something like an Aston Martin DBX, which is probably at least twice the money, and actually you could probably, if you tried really hard, maybe make it 3 times the money of one of these. I would have one of these every day. They are absolutely stunning vehicles. But I have to say a massive thank you to Alfa Romeo UK, and I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different. We're back home. We're going to go home, aren't we now? Actually, the first thing I need to do is get their harnesses out the boot and strap them in, because in the UK you have to have your dogs strapped into the car, otherwise you can get points on your licence and a whopping great big fine. So I'll do that and then we'll make our way home. But I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film, guys. You take care, drive safe. I think we've worn that one out.